And we are live. Welcome to the NBA Strategy Show. It is Sunday, February 2nd. I am Josh Engleman. I'm here to break down a 5-game NBA slate. We got a 3 o'clock start for Bulls Pistons, 2 3:30s, a 6 o'clock, and an 8:30 on DraftKings. Oddly enough, FanDuel dropped the 8:30 game. So FanDuel is only 4 games. But I'm not entirely sure that anybody is here for this conversation right now. So let's start here. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when everything goes live. Follow me on Twitter at Josh Engleman. We're going to start not with a DFS conversation. We are going to start with the blockbuster trade that happened in the middle of the night last night. Luka Dončić was traded to the Los Angeles Lakers for Anthony Davis. Man. Oh, baby. I mean, let's get into it because we know we have to. So I woke up to it. I just assumed I was living in a different timeline. Nothing that I saw when I woke up made sense to me. Jey Uso won the Royal Rumble. I didn't see that coming. And now Luka Dončić is a Laker and Anthony Davis is a Maverick. Let's just start with the trade. This is an absolute, for what we know now, this is a home run for the Los Angeles Lakers. You do this 100 times out of 100. They win the trade by a mile. It's an A+++++ based on what we know right now. This is a no doubt about it. You accept that trade as fast as possible. Win for the Lakers. I also feel the exact opposite on the other side. To me, this is a no doubt about it loss for Dallas. I think it's an F trade. I don't know what they're doing. It doesn't make any sense to me. They got worse. They were potentially the second best team in the West. Now I don't think they have any chance to do anything. If you're Dallas, I don't know how you take this deal. I don't know why you're not talking to other teams. Literally none of this makes sense. None of this makes sense. But this is an incredible deal for the Los Angeles Lakers. Incredible. I mean, there's no... For the Lakers to not have to give up both of their picks makes no sense to me. None. Zero. I don't know how the Dallas Mavericks don't end up with both Lakers first round picks. You could get anything in this deal. You should be able to get anything in this deal. Why are the Mavs doing this? How are you not calling San Antonio, Oklahoma City, Houston, Memphis? I'm sure I'm missing somebody. It's incredible. It's incredible. Is like, what happened behind the scenes in Dallas? How injured is Luka? How are the medicals for Anthony Davis? All of this is nuts. Jake Swales, it's a win for both teams. I mean, it's a giant loss for the Dallas Mavericks. Giant loss for the Mavericks. I mean, don't get me wrong. I never seem to like Dallas trades. This is worse than all of them from last year combined. neither team can be done. The Lakers have to make another move. Jackson Hayes, not an NBA starting center. Mavs need something. It's just crazy. So is PJ Washington a 3 now? Is the goal Kyrie somebody? Is the goal Kyrie, Clay, PJ Washington, AD, Lively? Because that's not a good lineup. That's 100% not a good lineup. I mean, the Lakers have, if I'm the Lakers, I'm trading whatever salary, my 2031 first, and a swap for Miles Turner. Is that the move? Lakers need a center. Mavs need to trade a center. Mavs need to get another guard. Einsteinium. I mean this when I mean what I'm about to say. No team has ever lost a trade more than the Dallas Mavericks lost this trade. This is the worst trade I've ever seen. And it's not because Anthony Davis isn't good, because he is. But there's a 0% chance that this is the best deal they could have gotten for Luka Dončić. Think about what Mikal Bridges just got traded for. Guys, it's Luka Dončić. It's Luka Dončić. They just traded Luka Dončić for Anthony Davis. Like, imagine if the Dallas Mavericks call San Antonio. I think San Antonio is going to put in more than a single pick. They're going to put in every pick they have. Oklahoma City could have gave them 8 draft picks and 4 real players. This is nuts. I have no idea what the Mavs are doing. No idea. Maybe OKC didn't want Luka. Manny, there's a 0% chance that's true. The trade is so preposterous that no one believed it. No one, it doesn't look like a trade that's real. What a great deal for the Lakers. What are we going to find out about this? Dallas wants defense and win now. Lakers are looking post LeBron. You know what? If you're a Dallas Mavericks team that wants to win now, you know how you do that? You keep the best player in the deal. If you want to win now, maybe you keep the guy that took you to the finals last year. There's no more win now player than Luka. He's the win now. You win now and you win in the future by having Luka Dončić on your basketball team. The Lakers got better right now and in the future by making this deal. I can't, like, what happened when that deal got pitched? How quickly did they say yes? This is an amazing deal for the Los Angeles Lakers. You can't win a deal much better than this. You truly can't. This is perfect. Absolutely perfect. I want to bet you that that Dallas ends this year better than the Lakers. Yeah, I mean, assuming Luka Dončić comes back in a week, which is allegedly what he's doing, what are we doing here? The Lakers are in a great spot now, and they have enough that they can go make moves. What a victory. What a victory for the Lakers. A team that definitely needed it, too. But I don't think the Mavs are done, and I don't think the Lakers are done. Both of these teams have another deal to make somewhere. Wow. Wow. Luka Dončić in a Lakers uniform. Anthony Davis to the Mavericks. I thought my phone was broken. I thought I got hacked when I woke up this morning. I had alert after DM after text message. My phone, you would have thought somebody died in my life. I'm so happy that this happened. Yeah, the Lakers don't have to rebuild anything. They got Luka Dončić and really didn't have to affect their team in any way. Like, if they can turn Rui into a center, whew. Yeah, I agree. Look, Oklahoma City is still the favorite. For sure. Trey, Luka cannot sign a supermax with the Lakers. That's just gone. Fully off the table. Luka can now no longer sign a supermax. That is just, he could have only signed that with Dallas. What does Luka's next contract look like? The most that anybody could sign for whenever he wants to sign it. The Lakers starting five is garbage. They'll get their doors blown off by good basketball teams like the Knicks or the Celtics. The Knicks, those two teams are not the same thing. I mean, look, Chill One says part of why the Mavs traded him is to avoid the Supermax. Let's be very clear here. If you're not willing to pay Luka Dončić the Supermax, you are the mistake. Everybody, all 30 teams, would give Luka Dončić a Supermax if he tore his Achilles today. You'd give him 5 years at the absolute maximum that you could pay him. Everybody's giving him the Supermax. You can't not do it. If Philly's willing to re-up Joel Embiid, Luka Dončić gets it. They could cut his leg off today. What do I think the Lakers' next move is? They got to go get a center. You don't Well, I mean, I guess you don't have to. Assuming you care about this season, they have to go out there and get a center. Whether that's Jakob Poeltl, Walker Kessler, Miles Turner, Clint Capella, they're going to get somebody. You can't do the Jackson Hayes thing. So my expectation is that they are going to do something for a center. Not in the AM, bro. Said, what was my reaction waking up? Confusion. I woke up and thought that I didn't wake up because I couldn't have made this one up in my dreams. Yeah, it's gonna be Turner, Kessler, Capella, Poeltl. That's the genre of center they're going to be looking for. Yeah, Damon, honestly, yeah, they're going to end up with Jokic for Gabe Vincent's contract. At the rate the Lakers are making trades, they can have anybody. Anybody. They're going to unfreeze Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. John, he's going somewhere because the Pacers are not going to pay Miles Turner what he wants. Do the Lakers have the option to trade Luka before the deadline? If the Lakers could sign him to a 15-year deal today, they would. This is nuts. So let's just sum it up. The Lakers, A+, the Mavericks, F, Utah, congratulations on Jalen Hood-Schifino. This is the most fun morning I've had in the NBA. It's not even the deadline yet, and I got the deal of all deals today. But I'm really anxious to see. We are going to get a lot more news about this deal in the near future. But we will ask the question forever. Why did the Dallas Mavericks not shop Luka Dončić to the rest of the league? That is going to be the question that everybody needs to know. Why did the Mavs not offer Luka to everybody? And that is an answer that I don't really think exists. I don't think it's out there. There's no logic. There's no logic to me. No matter how good you want to stay right now, there's got to be a better version than this. There just have to be. I love it. All right, do we want to talk about today's slate? I figure we got to talk about today's games. Jake, you are very much in the minority on this deal, brother. You are very much on the wrong side here. By the way, I'm repping the Lakers shirt today too. Felt fun. Let's break these games down, shall we? I know this is a lot less interesting, but we got to get into it. Shout out to Luka Dončić, the newest member of the Los Angeles Lakers, and Anthony Davis, the newest center for the Dallas Mavericks. Wow. The Chicago Bulls are 5.5-point underdogs in Detroit. 233 total. Bulls are still without Zach LaVine, who is doubtful for today. We're getting a little bit of love to Chicago, but it's really flat. It's 10 to 15% ownership on Vooch, Giddey, White, Patrick Williams, and Buzelis. And then about 10 for Lonzo and Dosunmu. And that's kind of how I see it. You know, I have basically the same optimal rates for Vooch, Dosunmu, Giddey, White, Williams, and Buzelis. They're all 10 to 15. So yeah, should Vooch be 10 to 15% owned today? He should. Should Dosunmu? Yeah. Should Giddey? Yeah. Should Kobe White? Yeah. Should Patrick Williams? Yeah. Should Buzelis? Yeah. I would say best Chicago option for me is probably going to be Kobe White. 6,100, point guard, shooting guard eligible. Currently projected for about 15% ownership. That's where I have him. Boom score 35% at 36.5 fantasy points. Feels really easy to get to Kobe White with no Zach LaVine around. Same for Giddey. Minutes have been up. Only point guard eligible, which is kind of annoying, but you know, you get him in that 15% range. That makes a lot of sense to me. Buzelis, his minutes have been up over these past few games. You know, you get him playing 22 minutes at 3,700. Hasn't been a bad per minute guy. I got him at like 0.9 for this spot. Should probably be in like 15% ownership. I mean, Chicago looks really good. This is the second fastest game on the slate. 230s total is totally reasonable. If I'm ranking Chicago, it's going to be White, Giddey, Patrick Williams, Buzelis, Vooch, Dosunmu, Ball. But they have legitimately 7 options. And honestly, it's probably even more like 7.5 because you could roster Jalen Smith on a 5-gamer. The amount of people that think that Dallas won this trade are really telling on themselves. Like, it's crazy to me what is being said in chat. It lets me know who I could ever take seriously. That's for sure. What do you guys like from the Bulls today? Can we move this conversation towards today's DFS slate? Because the Bulls have 7 guys that basically all look the same. I really wish one of them would separate, but they didn't. But give me Kobe White. He should be more owned in this. Man, chat this is fun. It's fun to read. Brandon says White and Giddey. Vooch going for 60. That would be a lot. He doesn't even like 50 would be enough. 50 would be enough for Vooch today. I got 45. 45.5 target score. But yeah, give me White and give me Giddey. It's your 2 best options from Chicago. For Detroit, we don't have anything going on with their rotation right now. They're kind of just at full strength, and we are getting quite a bit of ownership here. Jalen Duren at 40%. He's been running high lately. I would expect that to come down a bit, but 6,200, the minutes are there. You know, we're seeing him get north of 30 when he's staying in situations where he doesn't get in foul trouble. Vooch is not the type of center that really gets people in foul trouble. So this feels like a pretty good spot for Jalen Duren. Cade looks amazing. He's 25% owned right now. I have him 26% optimal, 50% boom. Had a lot of him on Friday for his 40 burger. We're getting close to 20% on Tobias Harris. We're getting about 10 to Tim Hardaway, 10 to Beasley, 10 to Asar Thompson. Cade is, to me, very clearly the best option in this game and one of the best options you can get today. I have his boom rating above 50%, which means his target score is below his projection for today. Happy to get to Cade. Should probably be more owned than 27%. Tobias and Tim Hardaway both look like completely reasonable value options. And if Duren were 30% owned, I would think that would be pretty reasonable. 39 feels a hair high, but he is one of the best center options, certainly a cash game center. 6,200 for a 1.15 fantasy point per minute guy. Yeah. Based on the ownership, Jalen Duren is your best Piston. I personally think it's Cade first, then Duren, then Hardaway and Harris. But given where Duren's minutes have been lately, I don't think it's surprising at all to see him pulling that kind of ownership. Duren got 30 last time out, 31 the game before that, 32 4 games ago. Yeah, Jake, that's still controversial. The Lakers won it both short-term and long-term. To think that the Lakers didn't win it short-term implies that you think that Anthony Davis is a better basketball player than Luka Dončić. This is not even up for discussion. There's not a soul that came into this season thinking, given the choice between these two names, Anthony Davis is better than Luka. It's just not a thing. What is up with all these AD stands now? All right. The Dallas Mavericks are on today's slate. They're 13.5 point underdogs in Cleveland, 237 total. Now, we really can't talk about this, but it's not for the reasons that you would think. It doesn't have anything to do with the trade. I mean, that doesn't help. But Daniel Gafford is questionable. Kyrie Irving is questionable. PJ Washington is questionable. They already don't have Dwight Powell, Lively, Maxey, Luka, obviously. They probably don't have Markieff Morris today because of the trade. So we don't know what's going to happen here for Dallas. But there's a non-zero chance that they don't even have a center today. Because if there's no Gafford, there's also no Maxey, no Lively, no Powell. But what if Kyrie doesn't play? What if PJ Washington doesn't play? We have no idea what we can do with Dallas today, but they are live to have multiple 40% owned guys. What if they're all out? And then we're just playing 40 minutes of Dinwiddie and Grimes and Marshall and Prosper and Exum and Kessler Edwards and Jaden Hardy. What is... chat, you guys are broken mentally. Einsteinium. There is no universe where Dallas is comparable offensively by trading Luka Dončić for Anthony Davis. None. Zero. It's not even a conversation that can be had. By the way, if you think that people could be shooting well with Luka Dončić out there for Dallas, get ready for the lack of spacing. Because that's about to go away now. All the good shots Dallas used to get are gone. They're gone. So I would love to dig in more about Dallas DFS wise, but are we really in a position to do that? They've got 100 minutes questionable right now. So I'm not entirely sure we can do anything with Dallas. They are a team that you need to bookmark for today in a massive way. Because as of right now, Kyrie Irving, PJ Washington, and Daniel Gafford, all questionable. We don't know what Dallas is going to be today. But there's a decent chance they're insane. Yeah, Tizzle. Kylor Kelly is a two-way guy who will be their only center today, potentially. Get ready for that. Get ready for that. Now, the Cleveland side we can talk about. Cleveland is unowned. 10% ownership to Darius Garland. Single-digit ownership to everybody else here. And we don't know the status right now of Karis LeVert. He has been out for a few games. He is questionable for today. I mean, you could tell based on my optimal rates and the ownership where I think Cleveland is. 8% Mitchell, 16% Garland, 10% Allen, 10% Mobley, 10% Strus, 10% LeVert. They're all the same dudes today. And they're all 8% owned. So, like, if I'm picking one guy from Cleveland, it's absolutely Darius Garland at 7,600. Only 10% owned. You know, he's the same per minute guy as Donovan Mitchell at this point, but he's $1,000 cheaper. He's just a better option now. So give me Garland over the field, but then give me the 5 to 10% of Mitchell, Allen, Mobley, Strus, LeVert. You know, if LeVert is out, then, you know, we're willing to click on Ty Jerome. We're willing to click on George Niang. But the real appealing side of this game is going to be Dallas if some of those questionable guys get ruled out. We need the news on Kyrie, on Washington, and on Daniel Gafford before we do this. Alrighty, let's go to game number 3. The LA Clippers are 5-point favorites in Toronto, 219 total. Clippers actually have some injury news. They're going to be without Norm Powell today. He's out with right hip soreness. Still waiting on Drew Eubanks as well. Now, we're getting a lot of ownership coming into the Clippers. Call it 15% to James Harden, Amir Coffey, Kawhi Leonard, another 10 to Terrence Mann, 25 to Derek Jones Jr., 20 more for Ivica Zubac, and 50 for Kevin Porter Jr., coming in at 3,500, point guard only, likely stepping into a couple extra minutes here with no Norm Powell. I think KPJ pretty clearly looks like your best Clipper because of that price tag. He's a fantasy point per minute dude. Even in 22 minutes, the value you get from rostering him, you only need like 25 fantasy points. Could easily step into more playing time as well. So my eye would be on KPJ first. My second best option, I think, is probably Derek Jones Jr. Now, he's 4,200, power forward only. Not a great per minute guy, somewhere in that 0.75 to 0.8 range. But 25% owned, he's one of the better point per dollar options. Other than KPJ, he's my best point per dollar option from the Clippers, 5.6x his salary. So I think that Derek Jones Jr. getting something like 25% ownership makes a lot of sense. Harden clearly looks a little bit better with no Norm Powell around. Kawhi Leonard certainly looks a little bit better with no Norm Powell around. Zoo In this matchup, I'm happy to get to at 7,400. 20% owned, 13% optimal, 34% chance of 42 fantasy points. Is Amir Coffey a good per minute guy? Certainly isn't. 0.65 fantasy points per minute is where I have Amir Coffey, but no Norm Powell. Amir Coffey's probably playing 29, 30, 31 minutes today. He's small forward, power forward eligible, 3,400. It's the kind of value play that we have to take on a 5-game slate. Terrence Mann. You want to get 10% of a $3,100 shooting guard small forward eligible Terrence Mann? You probably should. It looks good. As of right now, the Clippers are the most owned team on today's slate. I have them with the third highest optimal score, but they're only missing it by 5% from the top. So I think the Clippers deserve every bit of what they're getting. S&P, please don't be bringing that data in here showing exactly what the truth is. That's not going to help anybody. Nobody wants that. We want to speak about this with no logic or reason. Bronny James just tweeted out a fake picture of him and Luka. That's great. Who do you guys like most for the Clippers? Steven, you're right. Look, this is going to be a spot, though. Steven Leibowitz said coffee always looks good in the morning. I like the pun here, too. Who do you guys like most for the Clippers? Oh, Zach Lowe tweet from 3 minutes ago. Let me tell you, a currently on sabbatical NBA person's phone has never blown up like this. Trey likes Derek Jones Jr. a lot. Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm with you there. Let's see. We take out OKC, Denver, the Grizzlies, and add Dallas. Here's Poly Market over the last 6 hours for Dallas and the Lakers. Lakers were 7% to win the West. Dallas was 7%. Then we went through a really ridiculous stretch where the Lakers went up quite a bit overnight. Not the biggest market in the world on these teams right now, just because neither one of them are getting bet all that frequently. But it's pretty tight. Gary Bailey, man for value. Yeah, he's going to get slept on, and he got real minutes last time out. Man got 23 minutes in that game without Batum. Now we have no Powell. You get 23 minutes out of Terrence Mann, even with him being a bad per minute guy. 3,100 with that positional eligibility looks good to me. Let's go to Toronto. Hit that like button if you haven't done it yet. This is a fun way to start a Sunday. For the Raptors, so Davion Mitchell is questionable. We got Emmanuel Quickley back last time out. He was limited, way more than I think any of us probably assumed. Emmanuel Quickley played 15 minutes on the 31st. So I don't think that we're going to be expecting too much out of Quickley, but we also don't have much in terms of value for Toronto. As of right now, the Toronto Raptors are the least owned team on today's slate. We've got about 15% ownership to Jakob Poeltl, and then we have 7 to RJ Barrett and nothing else here for the rest of Toronto. Now, I would argue Scotty Barnes at 9,300 is a little bit underowned. I like him as a GPP pivot. Grady Dick at 4,200, probably a little underowned, like him as a GPP pivot. And then you should probably have about 10 to 15% of RJ Barrett and Jakob Poeltl. But that's it. That's it. There's nothing here for Toronto. They're going into a matchup against the Clippers that's paced down, good defense. I don't like any parts of that, but the only thing that I find appealing for Toronto is just simply Scotty Barnes isn't getting any ownership, and on a day like today where there's only 5 games, that I think is worth a discussion in larger field GPPs. If I'm ranking Toronto, it's RJ Barrett, Jakob Poeltl, Scotty Barnes, and Grady Dick. But these guys look like the worst team that you can get to. Maybe you could tell me that it's Philly. I could go either way. I could go either direction. All right, game number 4, Boston Celtics, 11-point favorites in Philadelphia, 222 total. Giuliano, how many minutes do you project Reed for? Reed? Shepherd? What Reed? Houston's... Do you mean Paul Reed? 0. Yeah. Well, 1, maybe? Anyway, the answer is probably 0. So for Boston, not a lot to talk about here. They're at full strength, and we know what Boston is at full strength, especially against a Philadelphia 76ers team that is not at full strength. We're getting 15% ownership to Kristaps Porzingis and 5 to Drew Holiday, Tatum, Brown, and Derek White. Now, I think Boston is pretty massively underowned here. 5% owned Jason Tatum at 9,600. I think it should be 15 to 20. 5% owned Jaylen Brown at 8K, shooting guard, small forward eligible. I think he should be 15 to 20. I think Derek White should be 10 to 15% owned. Porzingis looks right at 18%. You could tell me Drew Holiday should be 5 to 10, and I would agree. I don't know why Boston's pay-up options aren't getting a little bit more love, but I think they should. Einsteinium, I have no idea where you're coming from here, brother. None whatsoever. To think that someone traded for Luka Dončić and now they're sellers? They got better. What do you guys want to do with Tatum and Brown? 5% owned apiece. To me, that's craziness. I slightly prefer Tatum to Brown, but I like both of these guys. Yeah, pour one out for DeJounte Murray, by the way. That's a good point. That sucks. I'm ranking these guys Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, White, Holiday. But 5% for Tatum, 5% for Brown on a 5-gamer? Come on. And with the amount of value we might end up having for Dallas, too? These Boston guys look way better than the public ownership is showing to me. These are your pivots, guys. These are your pivots. Now, the Philly side. Little tricky. Andre Drummond, questionable. Caleb Martin, questionable. We haven't seen Drummond or Martin in a bit. 10% ownership to Oubre. 10% ownership to Yabu. You know, if Martin's back, he's probably starting over Edwards. You're not going to any of those guys. I don't know why Tyrese Maxey's 10K. How do you click Maxey over Tatum? How do you click Maxey here over Jason Tatum? Like, does he look good? Yeah. But he's in a terrible spot. And that price tag is full freight for Tyrese Maxey. So, like, yeah, do I think Tyrese Maxey should be more than 4% owned? I do. But I still think Jason Tatum is more under-owned than Tyrese Maxey. Oubre looks perfect in that 10 to 15% range. You know, he's playing 36 minutes a night, 6,400. You got the shooting guard eligibility. Yabu's fine at 5,800. 10% owned makes sense. You know, if Drummond is out, then you get Bona as your backup center. It's not that I don't like Maxey, but I just prefer the Tatum and Brown pieces on the opposite side. I have a hard time wanting to get to Philly. They likely have the lowest implied total. This is the slowest game in the league, or on the day at least. They're the second lowest owned team. This is the second. They're tied for the lowest optimal rate for me. I just don't want to have much of Philly. But if Martin and Drummond are out once again, then we've got some playing time to go around. All right, before we finish off this final game, hit that like button if you haven't done it yet, and sign up for the Portfolio EV tool free for a week. If you've never signed up for it before, if you want that trial, you can get it. Click the link in the description. We take a market-based approach to beating the books. We've got expected value and expected win rates for all of the props you're looking for. Parlay builders, odds boost calculators, odds shopping across all the sports books. You could do it for pick'em sites as well. This is the new way to build a bankroll, folks, and you can check this tool out by clicking the link right now, getting it for a week for no cost, $0. You can come check it out. Final game, Memphis Grizzlies. Reminder, this is not on the FanDuel main slate, DraftKings only. Grizzlies, 4-point dogs in Milwaukee, 245 total. Fastest pace game on the slate. Highest total on the slate. Both teams, 100% plus owned. Most owned game on the slate. 20% ownership to Bane. 20% ownership to Triple J. 35 to Luke Kennard. 20 to Wells. 20 to Aldama. No Ja Morant for this one. Luke Kennard gets the biggest benefit. We see him step into that point guard role. They don't seem to be going to Scottie Pippen as much as you would expect. So Kennard, 4,500, point guard, shooting guard eligible, most owned guy here. I prefer Triple J, but you got to pay a little bit more. Kennard is just really easy to get to. Role is set in stone here for the Grizzlies. Should absolutely be 30% owned. That makes a ton of sense to me. Bane gets that increased usage and increased ball handling with no Morant around. No reason to not want to get 20 to 25% of him. Like I said, I think Triple J is your best option here. We're talking about a 30% usage guy without Ja Morant around. He's 8,100. You could roster him at power forward. 45-point target score, 42% boom rate. I want Jackson more than I want anybody else for Memphis. Wells minutes aren't going anywhere right here. Santi Aldama has the ability to play upwards of like 27, 28 minutes on a day like today with no Ja. These guys are getting heavy ownership, and it is fully deserved. Second highest optimal rate of any team that plays today, and it's only behind Milwaukee and just barely. So any one of those five guys are all 20+% owned dudes. High priorities. I'm ranking it Triple J, Bane, Kennard, Aldama, Wells. I even think that you could get about 5% of Edey. Brandon Clark played massive minutes last time out. He's certainly rosterable at 3,700. Just don't expect to get those crazy minutes again. But Memphis looks amazing. This is quite the 8:30 late night hammer. This game starts 5.5 hours after the Chicago Bulls and Pistons tip off. The late swaps here are insane. And it's just as good on the Milwaukee side. 35% ownership coming into Dame. Fully deserved. I have him 50% boom at his projection. 50% ownership coming into Giannis. 11,700. Power forward center eligibility. Clearly the best pay up option. But don't forget, we've got decent pivots. But you're getting to Giannis easily more than you're getting to anybody else. Brook Lopez is still getting massive minutes with no Bobby Portis. He's only 13% owned. I would argue that's massively under-owned at 5,400. Chris Middleton's 20% owned. I haven't liked that ownership lately. I think it's deserved here, even in just 23 minutes. Shooting guard, small forward eligible, 5,200. As I'm looking at it right now, Milwaukee looks awesome. Number 1 optimal team, number 2 boom team. Giannis, the ultimate pay-up priority. Dame, a massive pay-up priority. Although, it is interesting, very easy to pivot away from him to get your Maxies, to get your Jason Tatums, to get your Jaylen Browns. But 2 high-end priorities in Giannis and Dame, guys that you're probably putting in cash games. My top 10s on DraftKings for today. Giannis, Cade, Jaren Jackson Jr., Damian Lillard, Kevin Porter Jr. We've got Brook Lopez, Desmond Bane, Kobe White, Derek Jones Jr., and Darius Garland are the rest of the guys on this list for today. So that's where we're at, folks. That's what we've got for this lovely, lovely Sunday where we had nothing weird happen in the middle of the night. Chat, this was fun, man. This was fun. What a day. Luka Dončić is a Los Angeles Laker. Anthony Davis is a Dallas Maverick. Who saw this one coming? Trade deadline show coming up on the 6th. I will see you guys on Thursday, I guess, for the trade deadline show. Enjoy your day today, everybody. Oh, James Moore, contenders on FanDuel. Yeah, I got you. We got Cade Cunningham, Josh Giddey, KPJ, Jason Tatum, Scotty Barnes, Kyrie Irving, Darius Garland, Kobe White, Derek Jones, and James Harden. That's going to do it for us on this Sunday. I look forward to talking more about this trade in the future. And to all of those people out there that think that the Dallas Mavericks won that trade, boy, you guys are wrong. Later, everybody.